All right, let's dive in. Today, we are going to demystify the world of computer programming by looking at one of the friendliest, most approachable languages ever created, Visual Basic. We're going to teach that computer what you want it to do.
Does this sound familiar? That little voice in your head that goes, wait a minute, you want me to talk to a computer in a language I don't even know? Believe me, you are not alone. That idea of programming can seem super intimidating, like being dropped in a foreign country and told to have a deep conversation.
But here's the secret. It's way simpler than it sounds. At its very core, all programming is just giving a computer a recipe, a list of instructions to follow. And Visual Basic? It was designed from the ground up to be the simplest, clearest recipe book you could possibly ask for.
So, let's jump right in. We're going to tackle this whole programming thing without fear. And I'll show you exactly what it is and why Visual Basic, or VB, is your absolute best friend when you're just starting out on this journey.
So what is a program, really? It's nothing more than this, a super detailed step-by-step guide. You see, you can't just tell a computer, hey, make a cake. No way. You have to tell it, first, mix the flour, then add the eggs, then bake it at exactly 180 degrees. Computers need every single tiny detail spelled out for them to get the job done.
So why on earth would you start with Visual Basic? Well, the clue is literally in the name. It stands for Beginner's All-Purpose Symbolic Instruction Code. It was built from day one with beginners in mind, designed to be the perfect entry point into the whole world of coding.
And there are three things that make it so special. First, the GUI, or Graphical User Interface. This just means you can literally drag and drop things like buttons and pictures right onto your screen. It's visual. Second, it's event-driven. This is really cool. The code basically just sits there. It sleeps until you, the user, do something, like click that button. And third, it's object-oriented. Now this one's a real game changer. It means you build with these reusable blocks, kind of like digital Legos. This is how programmers build massive, complex applications that are still somehow manageable.
Okay, so now that we've got the big ideas down, let's look at the actual blueprint for building your very first app. How are all the pieces of a Visual Basic program actually put together?
You know, the best way to think about this is like building a house. The entire application, the whole shebang, is the solution. That's your entire plot of land. Inside that, you have a project, which is the actual building on the land. Each screen the user sees is a form, which is like a single room in your house. And the controls, your buttons, text boxes, and labels, well, that's all the furniture you put inside each room.
And just like you'd label moving boxes so you know what's inside, you absolutely have to name your controls logically. In VB, we use a simple three-letter prefix like TXT for a text box or BTN for a button. This means if you see a control named TXT Ink Mark, you instantly know it's a text box meant for an English mark. This simple little habit makes your code so much easier to read later. Trust me.
But, and this is maybe the single most crucial rule in programming, before you write a single line of code, you need a plan. Think first, code second. Always. I mean, you wouldn't just jump in your car and start a cross-country road trip without a map, would you? It's the exact same idea here. You should never start coding without a clear destination in mind.
And luckily, there are two great tools for that. Pseudocode is like your written itinerary. You're just writing down the steps of your journey in plain English. A flowchart, on the other hand, is your visual map. It uses boxes and arrows to actually show the route your program is going to take. You really want to use both to get the full picture.
Now that you have a plan, it's time to bring it to life. Because really smart programs don't just follow a simple list. They make decisions and they repeat actions. And that's exactly what we're going to cover next.
This is where the if-then-else statement becomes your best friend. Think of it as a fork in the road for your code. It lets your app make a decision. If a condition is true, the program goes one way. If it's false, it goes another. Think about a speed checker. If the speed is over the limit, then issue a fine, else display a good driver message. It's really that simple.
And for those tasks you have to do over and over again, we use loops. A for loop is what you use when you know the exact number of times to repeat, like processing the grades for all 10 students in a class. A do loop is for when you don't know, it just keeps repeating as long as a certain condition is true, like checking for new messages until you finally log out.
So, you've learned to plan, to make decisions, and to repeat tasks. Now let's talk about the reality of coding, which means fixing mistakes and the exciting future that this brand new skill opens up for you.
Every single programmer, from the absolute beginner to the seasoned expert, writes bugs. It's just part of the game. The real skill is in finding and fixing them, which we call debugging.
And these errors typically fall into three main categories: syntax, runtime, and logic errors. Now, syntax and runtime errors are usually obvious. Your program either won't start at all or it'll just crash. But logic errors? Oh, these guys are sneaky. The program runs perfectly fine, no crashes, no warnings, but it gives you the wrong result. Imagine a calculator where you accidentally coded 2 plus 2 to equal 5. The app works, but the answer is totally wrong. That's a logic error, and it is by far the most dangerous type.
But mastering all these concepts, including how to debug, isn't just an academic exercise. It opens doors to real, in-demand careers. We're talking about everything from building phone apps and designing massive software systems to protecting networks from hackers as a security analyst. The ability to code is a superpower in today's job market.
So we started with that little bit of fear about talking to a computer. We learned it's really just like following a recipe. And we discovered the actual blueprint for building an entire application. You now have the foundation. So the only question left is, what will you build first?